know, I had breakfast with Donald the other day.
Pink slips.
Here you go.
Permits.
Okay, we're on. So as soon as Councilmember Clark explains
Priority frequency 1, frequency 2, vibrate. Selected call, frequency 1, selected call spotted.
Are we ready? See the new sheets they have now?
Bang the car, bang it. Richard, come back.
I'd like to call Ferrisburg City Council meeting to order tonight, Monday, March 4, 7 o'clock p.m. Roll call, please.
Mayor Hop.
Here.
Councilmember Kennedy.
Here.
Councilmember DeWitt.
Here.
Councilmember Twa.
Here.
Councilmember O'Donnell.
Here.
Councilmember Carlson.
Here.
Councilmember Blease.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'd make a motion, we excuse Councilman Blease.
Support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. At this time, please stand for the invocation given by Mayor Hop, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather here tonight to make decisions for our community. We seek your guidance in understanding what is best for our community and our fellow citizens. To keep our decisions impartial and neutral as we consider the merits and the pitfalls of each matter that is placed before us this evening. Please bless and keep our men and women in uniform safe from harm. We pray this in your holy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation. This time on the agenda is time for public comment. On the agenda for any citizens to give a brief comment or question to City Council. Time for public comments will be given when an agenda item is discussed. If you have a comment or question, please raise your hand to be recognized by the mayor. After being recognized by the mayor, please stand to give your name and address for the record and proceed with your comment or questions. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Have anything to say?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Then we'll move down to agenda item 6. Consideration approval of consent agenda. Approve the February 18, 2019 City Council meeting minutes as printed, and B, adopt the revised City Council procedures. Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Support.
Second.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to new business, item 7. A, public hearing to determine the necessity of the proposed improvements at the Piney Point Drive north-south section. So time for a public comment hearing to be open at 7:04. Hearing no public comment, closing the public hearing at 7:04. Okay, moving down to item B. Discussion and take action, if appropriate, to take off the table a resolution declaring City Council's intention to make as a public improvement the reconstruction of Piney Point Drive north-south section, to request the city assessor to prepare the special assessment roll for the project and to schedule a public hearing to review the roll on March 18.
Yeah, I move to take off the table resolution declaring the council intention to make as a public improvement for the reconstruction of Piney Drive, north-south section, etc.
Support.
Motion. Support. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to 7C. Discussion, take action, if appropriate. Adopt a resolution declaring City Council's intention to make as a public improvement the reconstruction of Piney Point Drive north-south section, to request the city assessor to prepare a special assessment roll for the project and to schedule a public hearing to review the roll on March 18.
Your Honor, just a
Yes.
quick comment. We'll prepare this information for the next meeting if still council wishes. But the question would be, we'll propose a 10-year, 3% interest. Does that work for everybody? That's what we're proposing.
We had an issue that the city attorney was looking into. Has that been resolved?
Right, and on the public hearing, we added that parcel on the public hearing, that if the parcel changes to where there's a driveway access in a Piney Point, they would cost to be recalculated at that time.
Second.
All those in favor stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Moving down to 7D. It's the introduction of ordinance number 303, an ordinance to amend the city code section 91.05, the fireworks. Before we go into a discussion, we need to have-
Quick question, Your Honor.
can we have a motion and support? And then we'll move into it.
This is
It's just an introduction, okay.
It's just an introduction.
So with this, it's also, the days have been limited, have been scaled back from what they were originally, and the limit of timeline to be, when they have to stop lighting off the fireworks is 11:45 PM. So those are the two big changes that have taken place.
We're not allowing during Coast Guard?
Correct. And this is the same that the other municipalities, so the 5 adjoining municipalities, have either agreed to or will be discussing this, correct?
Understanding Grand Haven Township and Grand Haven City will not be adding any other days than what's allowed by law.
Just what's here, so they're not recognizing the Coast Guard
No.
celebration at all?
That's
Okay.
correct.
Let me clarify my mind, if you would. So what is proposed here is what Grand Haven Township and Grand Haven City are approving,
Correct.
and this is what the state has approved?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
But it will also include Spring Lake Village and the township too?
They were,
You wanna
they
go
were,
back?
they were reviewing it.
Right, they're considering it, correct? Okay.
You notice that the days have been reduced from 30 to roughly 12 days. And also the other big item in this ordinance is the fine is $1,000 for each violation. Previously, it was $50. That's correct.
Down to item 7E. Discussion, take action, if appropriate, to adopt the no wake resolution. So here we need a motion support for further discussion.
Your Honor, I would
Yes.
make a motion that we approve.
Support, so further discussion regarding this. Craig, with your conversations that you've had with the DNR, this was needed to suffice to get the buoys out in Smith's Bayou?
For the
Future.
DNR to review the placement of the buoys in Spring Lake.
Okay,
Each community that board has jurisdiction adjacent to the Spring Lake and needs to approve this resolution. Spring Lake Township has approved the resolution. It's on our agenda for tonight. Spring Lake Village will look at it later this month. And so if it gets approved, and then we'll send this to the DNR, they'll look at it, have a public hearing, and then they'll give us information on what we need to do if there's going to be any changes.
because it's just going right out from Rendier's Road and off to the point of Bites Condos, right in that section is where they're looking.
They're looking at maybe adjusting the location of those buoys on Smith's Bayou. But most of the other locations of the buoys are, it seems everybody's happy with them. We just want to get specific locations with GPS coordinates.
All those in favor stating aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Moving down to 7G. Nope, 7F, excuse me. Discussion, take action, if appropriate, to adopt a resolution to honor the American Legion for 100 years of service. And that resolution was in our packet also to review. So, okay.
Support.
Motion support. Further discussion. Councilmember O'Donnell, did you want to add anything more? Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving down to 7G. Discussion, take action if appropriate to schedule a work session as a regular agenda item on March 18. So besides the budget, is there anything else that anyone would like to see on a possible work session?
Brought up, I see we're gonna discuss 168th. Could you get us numbers? I mean, this year's budget's shot with North Shore Road, correct? Pretty much. So could you give us some kind of idea, budget-wise, what kind of dollars we're looking at next year to put on to some of these projects? And then I think we need to have a discussion and prioritize, some streets. I was just on Dogwood Drive. That's been up for discussion several times. It didn't seem to me to be near as needy as what 168th is, or Carmen Drive. I mean, we have some other ones that just appear to be in worse shape. That maybe prioritize that and have that on the work session.
Especially if we're going out for grant funding too, that's important. Anything else? Sooner? Okay.
Traffic control in what regard?
Well, I've watched a couple semis going over that bridge, going up 168. That road.
Could be over the weight limit.
Well, not only with weight limit, of that one section.
Well, that would be wouldn't that be we can discuss it, of course, but wouldn't that be a matter for the city manager to take up with the police department and ticket them? I mean, we have a strict weight limit on there that probably is going to get reduced. Is that something that perhaps we should bring to the sheriff's department's attention to monitor that a little closer?
Yeah, we'll have the sheriff's department monitor that. They should be doing that. I think Councilmember O'Donnell was looking to have a signage up there. There'd be no left turn off across the bridge. And I was kind of waiting for the engineer to get back and run it by her to see what her thoughts were, if that would help or hinder the bridge.
For cars or for everyone, or just
All vehicles.
Left turns going north off the bridge?
Yeah.
Well, the current condition of Virginia is poor.
Yeah,
That section got
deleted from our last project.
and that is in. I mean, there's no piece bigger than about a foot. It's all alligatored to the greatest extent right now. We're approaching breaking up in gravel here pretty quick.
I'm not opposed to discussing it, but I just don't see what advantage that would be for passenger cars. For trucks, you know, we need to monitor that as far as the weight limit. I've seen loaded, what is it, 6-axle dump truck going across there. I have no idea what that weighs, but, you know, they're probably talking 40 yards of gravel on that truck. I have no idea what it weighs, but I'm sure it's way over the weight limit we have.
My concern would be with the hard left turn that need to be made on a curve of West Spring Lake Road onto Virginia. That is an accident waiting to happen if we're going to put everybody around that corner. I would rather see half a bridge than forcing people to make that turn. That is a difficult turn to make, and with the speed of traffic coming west on West Spring Lake Road, that's an accident waiting to happen. So I'm not real wild about that idea at all. Like I said, I guess I would rather see a lane eliminated and drive around than to see that. And I live there.
That was just one idea. I mean,
Yeah.
there's other, we need to look at, discuss some other
The
issues.
engineer is expected to be back in the office in April.
Correct.
And that's,
Somebody wait till late April.
move that more towards.
Bridge, if we're gonna go down to one lane, make it one way only. And when they come back, they're gonna have to go down Van Wagner or something. Just a thought.
One lane southbound and
One lane
northbound.
southbound, and then,
Well, that's what's gonna
because
have to
then you're
happen.
not gonna be backing up, waiting for people to, I don't think we're solving anything by having two-way traffic on a one-lane bridge.
No.
So these could be some really good discussion.
Not yet.
Session that's here with 168th. Mr. Bessinger included information in our packet this week, and we also had information in last week's packet from Preen and Newhoff. So, Craig, do you want to discuss what you wanted?
Yes, at the last meeting, we were talking about the budget, and we were talking about a grant application that came through for street projects, and some of the projects get additional consideration if there was infrastructure projects associated with the street project. We tossed around doing Carmen Drive. During the budget review last meeting, the council indicated that they were ready to look at 168th Avenue first before looking at Carmen Avenue. So some information in your packet of what the cost to do 168th Avenue from West Spring Lake Road to Van Wagner would cost. The maximum grant match is $250,000. So you see the total project's about $711,000. If we got a full grant, we would the city be responsible for $461,000. I'm not sure how high our project would rank. There would be really no infrastructure projects, stormwater or sanitary sewer or water associated with this project. And so we want to get those extra consideration points.
Would it include the dip in the road, the culvert area?
By Bridle Path,
Yeah,
north of Bridle Path.
yeah. Do we go that far down? 'Cause-
This,
or are we going all the way to Van Wagner?
this cost estimate would be from the bridge all the way to Van Wagner.
Okay.
And that culvert was probably done 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So I'm guessing the culvert's in pretty good shape.
I think culvert is, but I think the ground around it's collapsing. That's why we have that Kitty Wampus dip there. If you're going north, well, you gotta be northbound. You got that, you know, on the right-hand lane.
It's in that street.
Right. So as we're looking at this for the 2020 budget year?
That was I'm not sure we could have everything ready by April 5 to submit our grant application. If we were gonna submit a grant application, it'd be for 2020. Doing that project, I also had in your packet was some information regarding Pine Street. We've been trying to get a grant to do Pine Street, repave it from the gas station to 3rd Street. We've been unsuccessful, but we keep trying. We got word that MDOT is going to be repaving M104. Last time they did that, they came all the way to down 3rd Street to the railroad tracks. So the hope was that if we got the grant, we could do the same contractor and repave Pine Street at the same time. I talked to MDOT today, and they're not sure exactly what their limits are going to be. They're still working on that. So if they were going to do that in 2020, would City Council want to just pay for repaving Pine Street at that time? That's probably about a $240,000 project just to repave it.
Gas station to the flashing light, correct?
Yeah.
The Johnson boiler?
Yeah.
Isn't that a state trunk?
Just from William Ferry Park to up 3rd Street to the railroad tracks is state trunk.
I guess I was under the impression that's a state trunk line to the stop sign, then back to 31. That's a state trunk line there, isn't it? This is all state trunk line. 3rd Street. So we're talking from the bank to Tri-City Oil? Okay, gotcha. I was under the impression you're going from the bank to Ferry Park. Okay, gotcha. That road in that bad a shape that it needs to be redone? I guess I haven't noticed it. I travel that pretty regularly, and I guess I haven't noticed it. I mean, I noticed, you know, Carmen, I noticed Dogwood Drive, I noticed 168th. I just haven't noticed Pine Street. I'm understanding your proposal, there's no infrastructure we need to do on 168th, correct? Just some minor storm work. But as far as the water lines and sewer lines, that's all good? Okay.
Would any of the infrastructure, like that culvert and that, help with the grant? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Could we include that small section of Virginia within this project?
It's only half a block here.
It's getting bad. So this is just something we're going to talk about more at the next meeting when we talk about budget. What do you want to do for street projects? We'll do some prioritizing on what streets we think need to be done. But, City Council want to give some thought to about Pine Street and 168th Avenue or Carmen. I hope to have some more information any day now.
Have we're using Prina Newhoff as our city engineer at this point?
Street projects, we really haven't, we're not using anybody right now. Brian Newhoff is doing our SAW grant. They're real well versed with the city's water and sewer. They're doing the North Shore Road project, North Shore Drive project, but
All our city projects as opposed to, who's the last guy? Warren Brusnick. You know, when that engineer told me that, you know, he needed, extra funding for that dip on Van Wagner when, you know, you could take a blind man down there and feel that dip or that culvert. And he says, well, we didn't notice that. I mean, come on. It's high time we give them the boot out of here, I think, in my mind. I mean, then he wanted to back charge us extra money for that. Remember that? You know, time to give him the boot.
Let's consider a couple bids on the deal. See what we get.
Yeah.
So,
Well, now on 168, just to clarify my mind, we have to do a total upgrade on that, right? Strip it, subsurface as far as gravel, the whole 9 yards.
right, we would cold mill the pavement, new gravel base, and then 4 inches of asphalt.
Okay, because you think they can? Do you know offhand when the last time that street was redone?
I don't think it's ever been done.
I think the last,
It's an Old County road.
well, I've lived on that for the last 30 years. They did it when they put the water and sewer in.
Yeah.
That was 30 years, well,
Close to 40.
yeah, closer. And I don't recall a second time in that time,
No, I don't either.
short of the far end over by Van Wagner past the culvert. It's hard for me to believe though that road is 40 years old. There should have been something within that time period where it was done. I mean, because we're getting what, 20 years out of asphalt, and we're talking 40. I can't believe that road's 40 years old.
Well, it's had all those dips and hoochie coochies in there for nigh on to forever. You know, I mean, I've been on that, living there for 60 years, and it's been like that when it was gravel. Before you guys even, well, that was before you were around, but it was gravel, and then it went to that tar and stone, and then they finally repaved it. I think that was when we did the water and sewer project. So, but we got to get them bumps out of there. Or
Drive in a straight line, you're drunk.
or charge admission, put $1 for the ride.
No kidding.
That road is just, I mean, it's crazy. And my point being that I brought up the last meeting was, if and when we end up closing that bridge or diverting traffic, that's gonna be the main access point to get out of, you know, Harbor Point and that whole area over there. So that was my thought when I brought it up about Carmen, that this should have higher priority because it's not gonna be that much longer, and that's gonna be a real heavily traveled road.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, down to public comments. Hearing none. We'll move down to 9, reports. City manager.
No report?
All right, city council members. Mr. O'Donnell.
I attended the first session of the MML's subcommittee for traffic and infrastructure. There were approximately 12 bills that are currently before the House and Senate legislature. Look at them, which ones we wanted to support, which ones oppose.
Beautification is working on the 4th of July and also making plans for the beautification of Ferrisburg with the flowers that they plant around. And also, I will not be here for the 18th meeting. My doctor gave me travel papers, and I haven't been traveling for a year. Anybody that knows my family, we have gypsy feet, so we are out of here for a while.
I,
End of
I
report.
can't excuse you for that, I'm sorry.
Okay. Councilmember Dwight?
Yeah, there was something on my mind, but you distracted me.
We'll get back to you.
Well, I'm good.
Okay, Councilmember Quah?
Planning Commission meeting Thursday at 7 here.
Okay. Councilmember Carlson?
KLH Dune Preserve met the 19th of February, and we had Jason Borger, who is the coordinator of park maintenance and operations there. And we had an extremely productive meeting with him, bouncing ideas of coordinating signage together so that it had a general overall theme, and picking his brain more about the long-range plans of what they're planning on doing with Ottawa Sands.
Sure. Great. Great. I just want to thank the DPW for the support. It's clear. Arriving home late at night and leaving early in the morning. I truly appreciate their hard work that they're doing out there. And also still continuing conversations with legislators in regards to trying to seek any type of funding for Smiths Bridge. So still ongoing conversations. So that's it.
Motion to adjourn?
You beat me.
So I distract you.
Don't you tell Barry that. Oh, man, he chased me around with a shovel. He could frame me and bury me.
Well, gotta take it first. Wow.
First time he's ever been chased around with
I find that hard to believe.
Debbie says,
Richard.